Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's planning meeting. First, I'd like to just introduce everyone that's here. We have Councillor Cunningham, Councillor Edlin, Councillor Morrison, myself, Councillor McLean, John Burke, Gillian McCartney, Derek Scott, Alan Pepper and Leslie Ann Burns. Do we have any reports for absence?
I have apologies from Councillors Ireland and Lundy and from Provost Montague.
Thank you, Alan. John, sorry. Let me see. Yeah. First planning application we have is reference 2022/0719/TP. It is the erection of residential developments of 39 detached dwellings with associated access roads, landscaping, open spaces and other required infrastructure. Is this going to be Alan or Derek that's doing this?
I believe Alan.
Alan, we'll pass over to Alan, please, if you could talk us through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As you can see from the papers, the application is a detailed planning application for 39 houses with associated access road, landscaping and open space at former Line Cross Farm, Ors Road, Barrhead. In terms of the report, as outlined on page 6 of the papers, various consultations were undertaken. Two objections have been received from internal consultees. One objection relates to the fact that the proposal has not been planned or anticipated within Local Development Plan 2, and the lack of agreement on the provision of on-site affordable housing. And the other objection relates to the adverse impact of the proposal on the Dams to Darnley Country Park. There are no objections from the other consultees listed on page 6. 16 representations have been received. The comments raised cover various matters, including loss of open space, road safety, amenity impacts, departure from Barrhead South Master Plan and impacts on wildlife. These points are addressed in the report. The site lies immediately adjacent to an existing area of housing and currently consists of open fields to the east and west of Line Cross House and a wooded area to the north and south, as well as part of the original tree-lined avenue running from Ors Road to Line Cross House. This location plan shows the site outlined in red. It's not the orange housing area, you can see it's just the blank area outlined in red. This is Ors Road running north to south on this side. This aerial image shows the trees surrounding Line Cross House in this area. You can see them north, south, west, and the adjacent open area of land which forms part of the Dams to Darnley Country Park. In terms of LDP2, the application site lies within the Barrhead South Strategic Development Opportunity and Master Plan area within the wider allocated housing site SG 1.5, within the Dams to Darnley Country Park and also within the Green Network area. This slide shows the proposed site plan. The access comes from the existing housing area in this area of the plan, if you can see my cursor. Line Cross House is in the centre of the site, see listed. The proposal proposes 39 detached dwelling houses, which you can see surrounding Line Cross House, and also there's an extensive area of landscaping proposed, north and east predominantly. This plan shows the trees within the site. The trees to be felled are indicated as red circles, primarily in this area here. The larger green circles are the trees to be retained, so predominantly this area here and some in this area, and the rest of the green areas are really the proposed landscaping areas. This plan shows two of the house types proposed. Turning to the assessment, in terms of the principle, I'll just go back to the site plan, thank you. Turning to assessment, in terms of the principle of the development, while the site lies within the strategic development opportunity area, the proposal is considered to be in conflict with policy SG1 of LDB2, which sets out the housing land supply proposals. The Linecross site is stated as having a capacity of 58 housing units. As stated on page 13 of the papers, the Linecross site already has permission for 160 units, therefore an additional 39 housing units would take the site to well over the anticipated capacity. The Barrhead South Master Plan, which is a material consideration, states that Linecross House will be restored and integrated into the Barrhead South development to form a small group of steadying homes. This proposal has not come forward as part of this application, although the applicant has indicated that further application would cover this matter. The proposal therefore does not comply with the aspirations of the Barrhead South Master Plan or the terms of Strategic Policy 1, as the site was not anticipated or planned for in terms of potential infrastructure impacts. The Council's Principal Officer Planning Obligations Lead has recommended refusal as the scale of development was not planned for in terms of the impacts, in particular on the education estate. In addition, the Barrhead South Master Plan supplementary guidance sets out affordable housing standards for sites within the Master Plan area to include 16.5% on site, with 8.5% as a commuted sum towards off-site provision. The applicant has not agreed to this and instead has stated that they can provide the full 25% as a commuted sum. In terms of the education estate, the applicant has stated that they would be willing to pay the identified contributions to the education estate. In terms of the detailed design, it's considered that the most significant factors are impact on trees and visual impact on the Dams to Darnley Country Park. In relation to the Dams to Darnley Country Park, it is noted that the proposed development does not comply with the master plan, which designates the area surrounding Linecross House to be retained as green space, with only Linecross House and its immediate surroundings detailed as having housing potential based on retention of the house and ancillary buildings being converted for housing. In addition, it is noted that a landscape and visual impact assessment undertaken to support the master plan identified the area around Linecross House as visually sensitive, and that to mitigate impacts, development should be limited to the area west of the ridge line, which runs south from Linecross House. In terms of tree loss, it's noted that 30 trees are to be removed, with one of these Category A, 10 Category B and 19 Category C. The submission from the applicant indicates that 185 trees are to be replanted. It is therefore recognised that the applicant is proposing mitigation in the form of additional tree planting. However, it's noted that the proposal will still result in the loss of several good quality mature trees, and further that the loss of these trees will have a negative impact on the local landscape and character of the area. It is also considered that the form of development proposed will have an adverse impact on the setting of the C-listed farmhouse, Linecross House, as set out on page 14 of the papers. Further, it is noted that the proposal does not comply with the master plan, as a key active travel route running west to east that's proposed in the master plan would be severed by the proposals. In summary, the proposal is considered to be contrary to NPF 4 and Local Development Plan 2, as summarised on page 17, and the recommendation is for refusal for the reasons set out on pages 18 and 19 of the papers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Pepper. Could I open up to the committee to any comments, please? No comments from anybody?
Yes, Chair. I'd make a couple of comments. I mean, obviously, should in my opinion, seek to make housing provision where we possibly can. There's quite a lot of development within the vicinity in the south side of Barrhead. I just wondered what the particular amenity of this particular undeveloped part of Barrhead is in terms of the dams, where there's quite a lot of development going on to the south of Barrhead otherwise. And also in terms of the Scottish Water representation, that they cannot reserve capacity. I think there's a bit of a question mark there in terms of why they can't do that when there's already significant new units of housing being built in Barrhead. So I'd just appreciate a wee bit of narrative around those two subjects. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Mr Pepper.
Thank you. Yeah, so in terms of the wider area, Darnley Park, I don't have a wider plan with me, but it's to the east to the south. The key views that were identified as concerns, or certainly areas where there was particular visual impacts, were certainly the east and the south of these housing areas. So the main views, the reservoirs are down to the southeast. Yeah. So the ridgeline that I referred to in the presentation is just south of the building. So any encroachment beyond into this field here, as per the original master plan, was not planned for, and it was identified that would be an issue. The applicant has obviously stated that they are providing some mitigation form of landscaping. That will take some time to grow. It doesn't immediately provide a visual buffer, so there are concerns about that.
So that's a Walkmill Glen Reservoir is in the distance there. I'm looking at a kind of more zoomed out map on Google here while just speaking, so I can't see that.
And another question about Scottish Water. It's actually a standard response that they give. It's I feel like a caveat. So the applicant has to go direct to Scottish Water, and they have to submit a development impact assessment, I think it's called. So they have to seek the authority of Scottish Water to connect. But from our point of view, there's not a significant concern that they can't connect to the water network. It's just a caveated response, really, from Scottish Water.
Okay, I understand.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Pepper. Betty, Councillor Cunningham, yeah.
I don't understand quite a lot of what you're saying, right, because, like I say, I know this site very, very well, and this is where the house was that the family stayed in, was up the top. As far as the water, the dams, it's much further up the road, right. The houses were, that it's been proposed, I'm surprised there's not a lot more, right, to be quite honest with you, because it is a prime site. I've got no hesitation. I certainly will not be knocking back any houses been built in Barrhead. It's something that we're crying out for, right? I just, they're talking about connection with what was it, water? That's all been done at very early stages. So the previous building has been built up. It's been a building site, the Ors Road right up. Right, the whole place, there are hundreds of houses up there. I don't see where the water comes into it, because that was something that was put right into the top end of the site. Everything was put in right up to the top of that, so I don't know why that's a problem. The site for today with the dams to Darnley, three parts over, right, nothing to do with the building of this. So I really, I certainly would ask you to have a good look at this, because we're a place that we don't want to reject housing because we badly need them. Right, and like I say, it's a prime site at the top to build on, because there has been existing buildings there.
Thanks, Betty. Councillor Edlin.
I came into this having read papers and having listened to Mr. Pepler's comments and the others, probably heading towards being against accepting the recommendations to oppose the development. But I've heard Councillor Cunningham's comments, and I'm quite torn having heard them. I wonder if we could defer decision on this and have a site visit before we make a decision, please. Well, I'm suggesting. I'm just saying. Just to repeat it for you, Betty. Just suggesting that I was heading towards accepting the recommendation of the official, which Mr. Pepler exemplified, and then I heard what you have to say, and I suggest a site visit.
I totally. I don't think I need this, do you? I definitely don't agree with anything that's been said about it, because I know the site so well, I know the houses that's there, I know what was put in before all the buildings started to go up. So I know the site really well. So I'm sorry, but a site visit I would welcome. Definitely welcome as soon as possible.
Could I move, Chair, that we have a site visit? Given the fact that it seems the primary objection, having had the response in terms of Scottish Water, that's a standard caveat that's used in all responses. It seems that the major objection is the loss of amenity of the country park. And I think, therefore, if it is a loss of visual amenity, a site visit is important.
Very
so we should have
yeah.
I move to have a site visit.
Right, I'll see that.
I think we'd all welcome a site visit, because one thing I was going to bring up was that we would savour the route of the key access link to Amsterdam. It would be good to actually see exactly where that is and how it's going to affect and things like that. So could we arrange a site visit?
So procedurally, Chair, there's absolutely no issue with that. What I would say procedurally is that only those 4 members present today would be eligible to attend that. So I would need to try to get your agreement on a date and time for that to take place.
Okay. Great stuff, thank you. So just arrange that site visit, that would be great. Thanks, John. I'll move on to the next on the agenda, which is... What page is it on? Oh yeah, sorry. It is applicant to our Eastwood Golf Club, remodelling works to alter existing golf course to 12 holes, erection of new golf clubhouse, pavilion, development of woodland retreat, erection of 3 dwelling houses, formation of new access road and other ancillary works. The reference number is 2023/0321/TP. And who's speaking with this? Good, Mr. Pepler, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As you can see from the papers, starting on page 20, the application is for detailed planning permission for the remodelling works to alter an existing golf course to 12 holes and associated works as described, and erection of 3 houses. Members may recall that a previous planning application for a similar development was refused in November 2022. The main difference is that the proposal is for 3 houses instead of 6, as well as reductions in the scale of the ancillary buildings proposed. There's some tweaks to the golf course layout as well. As outlined on page 22 of the report, the application has been subject to a number of consultations. As detailed, no objections have been received. As set out on page 23, there has been a total of 47 representations to the proposals, all of which are in support of the application. So the application site lies within the green belt to the south of Newton Mearns. This aerial image shows the existing golf course with the whole locations mapped on, although it is now disused. For clarification, 5 of the existing holes and the clubhouse lie to the south of Langley Road. These are not included within the application site. This image shows the proposed master plan for the redevelopment. The golf course remodelling includes subdivision of one of the longer holes to form 2 shorter holes. The first hole shortened and reconfigured, a new 10th hole formed with the remaining 8 holes reinstated to their previous condition. There's additional alterations to tees and greens as well. The applicant proposes to operate the remodelled golf course as pay and play rather than as a members club, and the existing car park is proposed to be reused. Access is from a new priority junction from Mearns Road. That's in this location. The proposed woodland retreat is located northeast of the proposed clubhouse and car park in this area. To facilitate the leisure development, the applicant proposes the erection of 3 dwellings as enabling development to fund the works. These are located in the northern part of the site, here, here and here. The dwellings comprise 1 5-bedroom house and 2 6-bedroom houses. The houses are designed in a traditional style and also include a detached 3-car garage with ancillary accommodation above in the form of studio or office space. The detail of the 3 houses can be seen on these images, so I'll just quickly run through them, the different plots. You can see they're fairly substantial, but designed in a traditional or a studio traditional way. This image shows the proposed clubhouse and the car park area, and the final image is the woodland retreat, which consists of a building and surrounding play areas with associated planting. Just go back to the site plan. Pages 26 to 29 set out the policies relevant to the consideration of the application, and pages 29 to 34 the assessment of the proposals. In terms of the principle of development, it's considered that the works to the golf course and ancillary works consisting of the clubhouse and buggy store are supported in principle by the relevant policies of NPF 4 and LDP 2. In addition, the woodland retreat, given its use primarily as outdoor recreation, is acceptable in principle also. In terms of the impact on climate change, it is recognised that a golf course is liable to attract a high proportion of visitors by car. However, given the previous use as a golf course and recognising the close proximity to the edge of Newton Mearns, as well as the options for non-car based travel, it is considered that the proposal raises no significant conflicts with the relevant policies detailed in page 31. It is recognised that the works will result in some tree loss, as outlined in pages 31 and 32. However, given the scale of replanting and other works to improve biodiversity, the proposal is considered to comply with the relevant policies as set out in relation to natural environment impacts. Pages 32 and 33 consider the beneficial economic and positive health impacts related to bringing the golf course back into use and the addition of the woodland retreat. In terms of the previous application, it is recognised that concerns were raised about the scale of housing to support the proposals and the sustainability of the development in the green belt. In this regard, the reduction from 6 houses to 3 is welcomed, and it is recognised that this reduces the potential detrimental impacts of the proposal and also reduces concerns about the potential impact of the proposals on the education estate. subject to appropriate phasing. The applicant has submitted financial information to support their case that the modified scheme requires to be supported by three houses to enable the development to be viable. The submitted information is considered sufficient to justify the case for the three houses to cross-subsidise the proposals, and it is recognised that without this intervention, the proposed golf course is liable to remain as unused. Taking all relevant matters into account, the proposal is considered as an acceptable departure from the terms of the development plan for the reasons set out on pages 34 and 35, and the recommendation is for approval, subject to conditions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Pepper. Could I open up to the panel to any comments, please? Anybody got anything to say, or just want to go straight to Councillor Morrison?
Thank you, Chair. I was not present at the last Planning Applications Committee when this was put forward in its original guise, and I had a lot of sympathy with the application as it was then, and I'd be very happy to support it today, particularly with the lack of concerns from Education Department. So I would move to grant this.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. Councillor Edlin?
I was present during the last consideration, and I was in favour of the previous application being approved. I thought it was very good use of the land in that area, and I was very disappointed it wasn't approved at that time. And for the last 18 months, that has been a derelict property, probably at considerable expense to whoever owns the land or whatever. And so I'm very pleased that it's come before us again today, and I really hope we'll be able to approve this today, because I think it's very sad that for 18 months that property has been lying derelict when it could become a great social amenity. And I'm just looking at the plans for the houses, they look quite lovely, and I really would commend this proposal from what I've seen of it.
Thank you, Councillor Edlin.
Can I say that?
Just want to, someone like to, I would propose that the application goes ahead.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Thank you. Next on, we have a report by the Director of Environment about an enforcement notice requiring the resiting of a 15-metre high telecommunications mast and wraparound base unit erected on Addison Road, Donnelly Bank, East Renfrewshire. Who's still with us? You're off to Mr Pepper again. Thank you.
Thank you. This will be a bit briefer. As mentioned, this report... Sorry, I have just touched that. Give me a second. Yeah, sorry. This report is to request that members authorise the service of an enforcement notice in respect of a 15-metre high unauthorised telecommunications mast in the corner of Carmodrick Road and Addison Road. As explained in the report, pages 41 to 43 of the papers, the applicant submitted a prior notification application to erect the mast in this location. However, the planning service did not register the application as valid and advised the applicant of this. The applicant subsequently erected the mast. The planning service then advised that the mast did not have a valid permission, and requested its removal and relocation. The applicant has not agreed to remove the mast, and as such, given the close proximity of the mast to residential properties, an enforcement notice is considered necessary to seek its removal and relocation. The plans here in front of you show this is the mast location on this corner. This image shows the site, if you can see it there, without the mast. Again, elevation prior to the mast. This plan is quite faint, but you can see the mast here and the edge of the adjacent or the closest residential properties here. It's roughly 7 metres. This is the mast as proposed and as built. Some images. So, image on the left is from the east, so the mast is here. From the other side, the west, you can see it located here, and one. So it's just a closer up image of the mast, and this is an attempt, a photograph from roughly the window of the residential property, just to get an idea of the outlook. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Pepler. Open up to the committee for any comments, please.
The only observation I would make, Chair, and this is actually in a similar vein to what we've discussed at a recent Planning Applications Committee, we can't have the planning system essentially becoming a Wild West where planning is seen as an optional extra, particularly when we're dealing with, you know, well-known, reputable telecommunications firms. It has perhaps been an oversight on their part, but I would fully support the full effect being given to the enforcement notice. We can't set a precedent where basically we don't enforce the planning regulations as we should. Thank you.
I would quite agree with that. So we're quite happy to go ahead with this. Okay, agreed. Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's.
There's another item.
Is there? Sorry, everybody. This is Section 33, Notice 29 East Kilbride Road, Busby. The report follows the decision of the Planning Applications Committee meeting of 4th of October 2023 in relation to the service of a notar under Section 33 of the Town and Country Planning Act. Authorisation by the Planning Applications Committee in respect of unauthorised development of 29 East Kilbride Road, Busby. I'll pass over to Mr Pepler. Thank you.
Not really going to present this, so the report is unchanged from the previous committee meeting. I do have the visual information I provided before, so I'll just pass over to the members if that's okay.
Thank you, Mr Pepler. We went out to a site visit, so I think the three of us were there, so I'd like to open it up to the members to any comments. Thank you.
There's one matter I would like to put in consideration for colleagues, Chair. There's only three of us here today who attended the site visit and can deliberate in this matter. I think we're half of the people who attended the site visit, and I'm starting to think that actually it may be more prudent that this decision is deferred until other colleagues who actually attended the site visit are able to take part.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Morrison. Can we do that?
I would say that given that no actual deliberations taking place here today, you could, but it would require that no further consideration of the item takes place today. Yeah. So you would have to effectively make that decision immediately without further consideration of the item.
We're quite happy to. Are we quite happy to do that? Yes. Okay. Okay, thank you. So that now does conclude today's planning meeting. Thank you all for your attendance and goodbye.